Nightmare Real, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Okay, so a little earlier today, I uploaded a video about Joseph Parker and his promoter David Higgins expressing their interest in fighting Anthony Joshua if both of the fighters get past their fights to have coming up. I made a mistake by leaving that video on public. I meant to set it on private so I can edit the video first. But when I had it on public, some comments came through. And one of the comments caught my attention. The video's on private now. I'm going to edit the video and put it back up. But one of the comments that came through was from a commentator. His name is Roronia Zorro. I believe that's how you pronounce it. He may show up to this video and leave a comment. But the comment he left was, I need to grow some balls and call out Joseph Parker for ducking Deontay Wilder. Just 2-3 weeks ago, they were talking about unification with Wilder. And after using his name, using Wilder's name, now they want to fight Anthony Joshua. All right. So my answer to that question is this. For one, I will call out fighters when they're on bullshit when need be. This is a situation where I don't call them out for what? All right. First of all, okay, now let me break down what I'm saying. All right. First of all these guys have competitive fights coming up. So it's not a foregone conclusion that, Josh was going to win, Parker's going to win. And I even think Wilder versus Washington is a little bit more competitive than people think, at least from what I think. But let's say, for the sake of this argument, let's say all these guys get past their fights. All right. Joshua wins and Parker wins, Wilder wins. All right. Parker going into both fights with Wilder or Joshua is going to be the betting underdog. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you. So it's not like he will be ducking Wilder to go fight Edmund Gerber or, some easier opponent or Christian Hammer or, and not to shit on those guys, but just some, a guy that's perceived as easier where he's going to be the favorite going into the fight. All right. So that's number one. And then the second thing is, it's still going to be a unification fight. It's not like Parker will be going away from Wilder to not even fighting a unification. It's still going to be a unification fight. All right. If Joshua beats Klitschko, Joshua's going to be the one that's going to have a higher stock than Wilder. His stock is going to be higher. Parker will make more money fighting Anthony Joshua. In the UK, Joshua sells he sells good numbers of pay-per-views over there. Now, just think if he's fighting in a unification fight with Joseph Parker after beating, Vladimir Klitschko, Joshua's name is going to be huge in the sport, man. So on that end, that's when I said that I agree with Higgins, with the promoter of Duco. That fight would make sense for the money, for the popularity, and legacy. It's like everything in one for that fight. Now, yes, I understand that 2-3 weeks ago they were talking about fighting Wilder. You know what I mean? For a unification fight. And that fight makes sense. But if we want to go tit for tat here about, which fight was being talked about first, we got to remember that Parker and Joshua was being talked about way before Wilder came into effect. When Parker was the number one mandatory for the IBF, him and Joshua was being talked about. Parker and his team decided to go the WBO route and just give up their number one mandatory spot for the IBF, and they fought for the title against Andrew Ruiz. And even before that, I remember Parker came out on social media. He released a video where he was calling out Anthony Joshua so they can fight for the number one mandatory spot for that WBO. So that fight has always been talked about way before Wilder. So nobody's ducking Wilder, man. And then again, especially if Joshua beats Klitschko, he's just as dangerous as Deontay Wilder. Now, whoever you think is better, that's up for debate, and we can debate that. Whoever you think is better, that's fine. But Joshua and Wilder are just as dangerous, man. It's not like he's ducking Wilder to go fight a safe opponent, man. Like Josh will still be a tough opponent, and Parker will still be an underdog going into that fight. So whichever way Parker turns, he's going to be the underdog going into both fights against guys that perceive they can hit harder than him. You know what I mean? So I don't get how he's ducking Wilder to go fight a guy's just as tough, if not tougher. Now, if you're coming from the standpoint of just being a Wilder fan and you want to see Wilder in a unification, well, okay, I understand your argument. You want to see your guy in a unification fight. But I want to look at it as Parker's ducking him. I just don't see it like that, man. To me, you're ducking somebody to go fight a safer opponent. That's when it's a duck. You know what I mean? For me, that's when it's a duck. That's like saying, you know, you're ducking Prime Tyson to go fight Prime Foreman. Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to deal with Prime Ali's jab, so you're going to go fight Prime Larry Holmes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. You know. That's how I answer that question, man. Just my opinion. I'm sure people out there are going to disagree with me, and they probably think it is a duck, but I don't see it as a duck. And like I said in the previous video, I'm going to kick my feet up, sit back, turn on the TV, and I'm going to watch me some Parker versus Joshua or Parker versus Wilder. I'm fine with both of the fights. And I don't think it's a duck. And even if he was trying to, and even if this was reversed and Parker and his team, you know, they went from Joshua to Wilder, I wouldn't consider that a duck either. They're both going to be uphill battles for Parker, man. In my opinion, at least. I'm not saying that he can't win the fights, but he's going to be a betting underdog going into those fights. Both those guys are, you know, bigger fighters than him by a few inches in height, and you know what I mean. So, well, I think Parker weighs more than Deontay, but just, you know, reach and being a taller guy, you know, seems as if he can punch harder, that right hand, you know, but I wouldn't consider Parker ducking, man. I just don't consider him ducking Wilder to fight Joshua or ducking Joshua to fight Wilder. I just don't see that. Just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out.